Hi there, it's Laisha from With Love Laisha, where we learn to crochet with love and patience. For today's tutorial, I have for you these crocheted hot pads. And these would go under hot pots and pans to protect your surfaces from the heat. These are crocheted using the waffle stitch pattern, and the waffle stitch is made up of the front post double crochet and regular double crochet. If you like to sell your finished pieces, these work up pretty quickly and would be a great addition to your inventory. They also make great gifts. So let's go ahead and get into this tutorial. But before we do, you know the deal. Hit that subscribe button below to bookmark my channel and get more great content from me. It's a wonderful way of supporting the people you enjoy watching. And make sure you give this tutorial a thumbs up before you go to let me know that you enjoyed it. Now let's go ahead and crochet some hot pads.
Okay, so to crochet these hot pads, you need some yarn, of course, and since hot pads are designed to absorb heat, I recommend a cotton or cotton blend yarn because you don't want your yarn to get distorted or melt under the heat, and you don't want the surface underneath the hot pad to get damaged, and cotton absorbs heat really well. So a cotton or cotton blend yarn, and I am using Yarnspiration's Lily Sugar and Cream in the color teal. That's this blue, and I'll be crocheting with Country Yellow today. And these are just a couple bucks in Michaels and $2.99 I believe on Yarnspiration's website if you order from them directly. And of course you need a crochet hook. So the back of your yarn's packaging will tell you what hook size you need. It's right here. And this yarn calls for a size H hook, but I crocheted with a size G because I wanted my stitches to be tighter. So go with what the yarn packaging asks for, and then you can move up or down from there. So today I'll show you what the hot pad will look like if you crochet with a size H. And you need some scissors to cut your yarn, and you need a yarn needle or a darning needle. And that is to weave or sew in your ends when you finish your project. And that's it. This hot pad is crocheted in a waffle pattern. And to get that pattern, we need to know the front post double crochet. So today we will be using the double crochet stitch and the front post double crochet, and I will show you how to do that. Now the first thing we need is a slip knot. So go ahead and get your slip knot going however you like. I'm going to show you how I do mine. So lay your yarn over your hook with the tail facing away. I'm just going to bring it over. And now we need a starting or foundation chain. So go ahead and in multiples of 3, you're going to chain the width of your hot pad. So you're going to keep chaining until you're happy with how wide your hot pad will be. So I will chain until my chain is about this size. But make sure that you are chaining in multiples of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And keep your hook relaxed but have a firm grip on it. Keep your yarn relaxed but have a firm grip on it. You don't want your chains to be too tight because we do need to come back and work in them. So go ahead and keep chaining. And I will let you know what we do after that. Once you have chained the amount of chains that you want, and you're happy with the width of your hot pad, you're going to go ahead and add 4 more chains. And I've already done that here, so this is the width of my hot pad. And I've added 4 more chains. And the reason we do that is because as we work back into this starting or foundation chain, it will shrink. And those 4 extra chains ensures that we still get the width that we wanted. So approximately, you'll still end up with the width that you were going for. So those 4 chains are important. Don't forget to add those. Now, we're going to start working on our first row here. So work into the second chain from the hook. So this is the first chain from the hook. This is the second one. We're going to place a double crochet in the second chain from the hook. And if you need to know how to do a double crochet, I'll show you, but you can also check out my video on the double crochet stitch. That'll pop up in the top right for you. You can also check the description box. There will be a bunch of helpful links there for you. Okay, so yarn over to do the double crochet. We're going to yarn over and we're going to go into the second chain from the hook. We're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on your hook, yarn over again, and pull through the next 2. And once again, remember, you want to keep your hook relaxed but have a firm grip on it. You don't want to be clenching anything, your yarn, your shoulders, your hook. Keep your tension relaxed. Okay, once again, we're going to yarn over. We're going to work into the next chain. So just go in there, pull up a loop, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through the next 2 loops. And we're just going to keep doing that all the way down. Okay, I finished working along my chain, and as I mentioned, the chain did shrink, so my project did shrink in width. So even though we added those extra 4 chains, it's still approximately the size that I was looking for. So that's why we add those 4 extra chains. Now once you have worked all the way across your foundation or starting chain, you're going to chain 1. So just yarn over and pull through the loop. And then we're going to turn our work. And we're going to place the first stitch is going to be a double crochet, and we're going to work right under this first V. So it's not this one where the yarn is coming out from, it's the one right next to that. So it's the very first V, and it's right next to this post here. So you're going to go basically into the top of that very first post. So yarn over and place your first double crochet into the top of that first post. So anytime you have trouble finding a stitch, it's helpful to look for your post and then look for the top of that post. And usually you'll be able to figure out where your hook goes pretty well. Okay, our next stitch is going to go around this next post. And this is going to be our front post double crochet. And I like to think of the front post double crochet as meaning front of hook. That helps me remember how I need to place my hook. So I'm going to yarn over because it is a double crochet, and I'm going to get this post over my hook. So I'm just going through the back of it. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop, and I'm going to complete my double crochet as normal. And now our next stitch is going to be next to that, and we're going to do a regular double crochet. So yarn over. Once again, to make sure we don't go into the wrong space, find your post and go into the top of that. Make sure you get that V over your hook and complete your double crochet. We're going to do a regular double crochet for the next stitch. So I'm going to find my post, get under that V, and now we're going to do another front post double crochet. So once again, yarn over because it is a double crochet, and get that post over your hook. So it's going to be in the front of your hook. And then we're going to just pull up a loop like normal and finish our double crochet. And you want to make sure that when you work around that post, you don't want to go in through the stitch. So you want to make sure you don't go into the top that way. You're going into this space on either side. So I'm going under the tops of the stitches into this space and into that space on the other side. It took me some time to figure that out when I was first learning, so I want to make sure I point that out. Okay, once you've placed your front post double crochet, you're going to go ahead and work 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So just go ahead and follow that pattern. You're going to do 2 double crochets into the tops of your stitches as normal and 1 front post double crochet. So after every 2 normal, you have 1 front post. After every 1 front post, you have 2 normal. So work until the end of the row, and I will show you how to work with that last funny little stitch that we'll have on the end. I have 2 stitches left on the end. So I have this one V and this next V. And after my last 2 regular double crochets, I have this regular looking post, normal looking post, and then this funny little portion here on the end. So that last regular looking post that you have, that should be your last front post double crochet. So just like I've shown you, we're going to do that the same way we did the other front posts. And now you're going to work a double crochet into this space here. So if you turn your work, you'll see this V. You just want to work into that last little corner there and get that V. And complete your double crochet. And now we're ready to work our next row. So chain 1 and turn your work. Now we're pretty much going to be doing the opposite of what we've been doing. So you should be able to see some texture by now. And if you notice the 2 stitches that were actually more to the back, more receding on the other row, they are popping out to the front, and our front post double crochets have actually moved to the back. So we're going to continue sort of following the pattern in reverse. We're going to first place a regular double crochet in this first V here. Start with that. And now, since this first stitch is a front post, and you can see that if you turn it, you can feel with your fingers too that it's bumped back. We're going to place a regular double crochet in that. So we're going to actually go into the V, or under the V rather, not around the post. And these 2 stitches here that are bumped forward, we're going to go around those posts. So we're going to place a front post double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So remember, front post meaning front of your hook. The next one. And now the next one, we had done a front post double crochet, so you can feel that it's actually moved to the back, you're going to put a regular double crochet in that. So basically you're placing a regular double crochet in all the front post double crochets you had done in the previous row, and in all the stitches that are bumping forward, we're going to place front post double crochets around all of those regular double crochets we had done. And we're just going to continue following the pattern in that way all the way across the row. So I'll see you at the end of this row. Coming up on these last two stitches here, you have these last two V's. That's where you place your stitches. And we did just finish 2 front post double crochets. So our next stitch is going to be a regular double crochet. Go under that V. Also, if you feel with your finger, you can feel that this last stitch from our previous row, or this last post from our previous row, was a raised stitch. So it was a front post double crochet. So we are going to place a regular double crochet in there. And in our last stitch, that's your V, just place regular double crochet under that V. And chain 1 and turn. You can now see your pattern starting to come through, and I'm going to leave you to finish this pattern to the end, and I'll meet you there, but let me show you an easy way of remembering what you're doing. So we always place a regular double crochet in our first V and our last V. That doesn't change. In the middle, in between, every stitch that's raised, you're going to place a front post double crochet in it. Every stitch that sits to the back will get a regular double crochet. So this stitch is a raised stitch. And you can feel that it is raised. You're going to place a front post double crochet. These next 2 stitches are sitting to the back. When I'm looking at them from this side, they're behind. So we're going to place regular double crochets in them. Continue with that pattern, and I will meet you when you have finished and you have the desired length or height of your hot pad. So I just want to talk to you a second about your tension. If you feel that your project is coming out a bit wonky, you're not getting even edges on all sides, you are most likely not crocheting all your rows and all your stitches with the same amount of tightness or looseness, and that is called your tension. So if you pay attention to how tight or loose you're crocheting your stitches and try to keep them all the same amount of tightness or looseness, that should help. So keep your hands relaxed and keep your shoulders relaxed, but keep a firm grip on your hook and your yarn, and that should help give you a more even shape. Now, the last row, I'm going to actually add a row of single crochets, because when we started with a starting chain or foundation chain. So we have this little start point here before we lead up to our pattern. And if we finish just like this, we sort of end a little more abruptly than we start. So you don't have to do this last step. It's just an extra step that I like to do to give my project a little bit more of a uniform look, you know, kind of bring it all together more neatly. So to put in our row of single crochets, you want to make sure that you do chain 1 and then turn. And then we're just going to go right under these V's and put in 1 single crochet into each stitch. In a single crochet, you just insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. So just do that all the way down. And then we will be ready to knot off and sew in our ends. So I will see you at the end of the row. So I'm here at my last stitch, and I just want to show you, you want to make sure that your last stitch is that V, and you do grab that last V as we have been all along. And one thing I should have mentioned that I didn't a lot earlier in this project is that you want to count your stitches at the end of every row. So you always want the number of stitches that you started with, you know, that you wanted to have for your width. So make sure that you do count your stitches. A lot of times when our project isn't even, it's because we've missed a stitch here and there. So you want to make sure that you do that. And so now that is our last stitch of this project. You can pull up this loop. You're going to yarn over and pull through and tighten to create your knot. And you want to give yourself a good tail length because we are going to sew it in. So this is where you would grab your scissors at the top of that loop, cut, and this strand that's coming from your skein, you want to tug on that, and that will pull out the correct strand. And now we're ready to sew in our ends. I catch my ends in my border as I am crocheting it on, and I have a couple edging or border tutorials, a single crochet border and a crab stitch border, and I think I do show you how to do that in those. I will link those in the description box for you, and possibly somewhere in the top right here, but definitely in the description box. So go ahead and check those out. You can actually skip the sewing your ends step if you're adding a border. If you are not adding a border or you want to learn how to sew in your ends, take the eye end of your yarn needle or darning needle, get your yarn snug over it and slide it towards that eye end. And you want to get it really nice and tight. That will help you get your yarn into your needle, into your eye, rather than trying to struggle with the fuzzy end of the yarn. Now, see which way your knot likes to lay best. I like the way it looks going this way, so I'm going to work in this way. So I'm going to go straight down into my stitches here and insert your hook so that you can't see your, insert your needle so that you can't see your needle on either side. You want to really get it hidden in there. And I'm just going to do a little at a time because sometimes the yarn can be a little difficult to pull out. So you might need to kind of play around with it a bit and see which way your needle gets hidden best. Maybe you might need to go down and then across, just depending on where you're starting. So I'm going to go a little bit more into this row, because I'm actually going to turn around and come back the way that I started. Don't pull too tight because you don't want a dent at the beginning of at the edge of your project. Now, once you've come in a little ways, I think I've done maybe a couple inches or an inch and a half, I'm going to skip one strand here, and I'm going to insert at this second strand, and I'm just going to go straight back down the way I came. And again, I'm going to go a little bit at a time. If you're having trouble pulling it, figure out which of these two strands goes to your tail and pull that strand. And I'm going to insert back in and keep coming out down the row. I've come to the end. One of my strands got caught, but that's okay. I'll worry about that later. Let me show you what you do here. So once you've come down and out, you're ready to cut your tail. So I like to tug a little bit and cut. Make sure not to cut your stitches. And I'm going to wiggle it, and my tail is hidden in there. A small hook would work great to catch that tail back under your stitches. So these crochet hooks really come in handy for a lot of different things. There. So we had a little problem for a second, but I hope you learned something. These things happen, and now you learned what to do if it happens to you. So that is your crocheted hot pad, and you've got a nice set going there. The reason that I did 2 different hooks is I wanted to show you how differently the stitches come out. So this is a G hook. This is 1 step smaller than the yarn suggested. And this was with an H hook. So you can see how much bigger and looser, and it's so much more stretchy using the hook that the yarn suggested. This is tighter. It's not as stretchy. So you can choose the kind of look that you want and choose your hook size.
I hope you enjoy crocheting these hot pads. Share your finished pieces with me on Instagram, #WithLovelacia. Other than that, you know the drill. Like this tutorial, share with your friends, comment any questions or concerns in the comments below. And before you go, hit that free subscribe button so you don't miss any great content from me and you support my channel. Until another fun project, keep crocheting with love and patience. Thanks for watching.